You know that moment when you're talking to her, everything seems fine, and then you feel the energy shift? She's still smiling, still responding, but something's different. Here's what I've learned watching this pattern repeat itself. Women don't pull away because you're boring or because you said the wrong thing. We pull away because certain behaviors activate our emotional circuits in ways that trigger distance instead of closeness. And the fascinating part? Most of these behaviors happen when you're trying your hardest to create connection. Today, I'm going to walk you through 10 patterns that instantly sabotage attraction, not because I want to point out what you're doing wrong, but because understanding the psychology behind these patterns changes everything. These aren't the usual dating tips you've heard before. Some of these insights will challenge what every piece of dating advice has taught you. Number 1. When you like someone, your brain wants to eliminate uncertainty. So you explain why you texted, why you chose that restaurant, why you think she's amazing. It feels logical. Clarity should create comfort, right? Wrong. Neuroscience research shows that uncertainty actually amplifies attraction. When you over-explain, you're removing the mystery that keeps her dopamine pathways engaged. You're essentially telling her brain it doesn't need to work to figure you out. Instead of explaining why you picked that wine bar, just say, "I think you like this place." Let her curiosity fill in the gaps. Her brain will create a more compelling story than any explanation you could give. Number 2. She laughs at your joke, so you immediately amp up your humor. She shares something personal, so you dive into your deepest thoughts. This feels like good rapport building, but it's actually emotional rushing. Women are wired to test emotional consistency over time. When you mirror her energy too quickly, it signals that you're more focused on her reaction than on your own authentic state. This creates what psychologists call reward dependency. Your emotional state becomes contingent on her responses. The fix is counterintuitive. Stay slightly behind her energy curve. If she's at a 7, you stay at a 5. This creates emotional tension that keeps her engaged while demonstrating that your worth isn't dependent on her validation. Number 3. Comfortable silence terrifies most men when they're attracted to someone. So you fill every pause with questions, observations, or stories. You think you're being engaging, but you're actually preventing intimacy from forming. Silence creates what researchers call shared emotional space moments where both people's brains synchronize and create deeper connection. When you constantly fill these spaces, you're interrupting a natural bonding process. Practice holding silence for 3 seconds longer than feels comfortable. Watch how she leans in instead of checking out. Silence isn't empty space, it's where attraction actually lives. Number 4. Did you have fun? Are you glad you came out? Should we do this again? These sound like thoughtful check-ins, but they're actually requests for validation. Your brain is seeking confirmation that you're performing well, but her brain reads this as emotional neediness. Women are hardwired to assess emotional strength as a marker of long-term potential. When you consistently seek reassurance, you're demonstrating that your confidence requires external validation, which triggers her pull-away instincts. Instead of asking if she had fun, make a statement, "I enjoyed tonight." Then let her respond naturally. You'll be amazed how much more authentic her reaction becomes when it's not prompted by your anxiety. Number 5. She mentions stress at work, and you immediately offer solutions. She talks about her difficult roommate, and you start strategizing. This feels supportive, but it's actually creating emotional distance. Research in attachment psychology shows that women primarily share problems to create emotional connection, not to receive solutions. When you jump straight to problem solving, you're missing the opportunity for emotional attunement, the thing that actually builds intimacy. Try this instead. Listen, reflect back what you hear, and ask, do you want to talk through it, or do you want me to just listen? This simple question demonstrates emotional intelligence that most men never develop. And here's something that might surprise you. The insights I'm sharing now are just the beginning. The patterns we're about to explore challenge everything conventional dating advice taught you about attraction. Number 6. You think you're making her feel good, but appearance-based compliments actually create performance pressure. When you consistently focus on how she looks, her brain starts monitoring whether she's maintaining your approval rather than relaxing into authentic connection. Neuroscience shows that compliments about appearance activate different brain regions than compliments about character or behavior. Appearance compliments trigger self-consciousness, while character compliments build genuine self-worth. Instead of "you look amazing," try "I love how you think about things," or "you have this way of making people feel comfortable." These compliments create emotional safety rather than performance pressure. Number 7, she can't make dinner, so you immediately offer lunch. She's busy this weekend, so you suggest next weekend. This seems accommodating, but it's actually demonstrating that your life revolves around her schedule. From an evolutionary psychology perspective, women are wired to assess whether a man has his own mission and purpose. When you constantly reorganize your life around her availability, you're signaling that you don't have compelling priorities of your own. The solution isn't to be inflexible, it's to have genuine boundaries. If she can't make dinner, you can suggest one alternative. After that, you move on with your plans. This shows that you want to see her, but your life doesn't stop without her. Number 8, you had a great conversation, so you text her highlights later. You're thinking about her, so you send a photo that reminded you of her. These gestures feel romantic, but they're actually interrupting her natural process of missing you. Attachment theory reveals that longing creates emotional investment. When you constantly fill the space between interactions, you're preventing her from experiencing the positive tension that builds attraction. You're essentially doing her emotional work for her. Create intentional communication gaps. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let her brain create stories about what you're doing. This isn't game playing. It's understanding how emotional investment actually forms. Number 9. I watched a friend of mine completely derail what could have been an amazing connection because of this pattern. He'd been dating this woman for about a month, and things were going really well. But every time she took a little longer to respond to texts or seemed slightly less enthusiastic, he'd start analyzing every interaction. He'd text me screenshots asking what I thought her response meant. He'd replay conversations looking for signs he'd said something wrong. The anxiety consumed him, and here's what happened. He started seeking reassurance from her more frequently. "Are we good? You seem quiet tonight. Did I do something?" She pulled away within 2 weeks, not because she wasn't interested, but because his anxiety had created a dynamic where she felt responsible for managing his emotional state. She went from feeling excited about him to feeling exhausted by him. The insight here: anxiety is contagious, and women can sense it even when you think you're hiding it. Your brain's threat detection system activates hers, creating a cycle where she starts feeling anxious around you without knowing why. Number 10, someone I know who's naturally charismatic and funny. Women were always initially attracted to him, but relationships would fizzle after a few weeks. He couldn't understand why. He was on the entire time, entertaining, charming, making her laugh. She was having a great time, but something was missing. He was performing the role of the perfect date instead of just being present with her. After the 3rd date with one woman, she told him she had a great time, but wasn't feeling a deeper connection. He was devastated because he'd been trying so hard. That's when I explained what I'd observed. He was working so hard to be impressive that he never gave her space to be impressed by who he actually was. The psychological principle here is called authenticity bias. People are more attracted to genuine moments of imperfection than polished performances. When you're constantly entertaining, you're actually preventing intimate connection from forming. He started experimenting with just being present instead of being on. He'd share genuine reactions instead of crafted responses. He'd let conversations flow naturally instead of steering them toward humor. The next woman he dated said something that changed his entire perspective. "I love that you're comfortable enough to just be quiet with me." Here's what all of these patterns reveal. Dating isn't about what you do. It's about the presence you bring to every interaction. When you're focused on performing, managing, or controlling outcomes, you're actually preventing the natural chemistry that creates a lasting attraction. Women don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present. They don't need you to eliminate every moment of uncertainty. They need you to be comfortable with not knowing what happens next. They don't need you to solve their problems or manage their emotions. They need you to be emotionally stable enough that they can relax into their own authentic selves around you. The most attractive thing you can do isn't learn better techniques or say the right things. It's develop enough inner security that you can show up as yourself without needing her reaction to validate your worth. Every behavior I've described today stems from the same root, seeking external validation instead of operating from internal confidence. When you shift from trying to get her approval to simply sharing your authentic self, everything changes. You're already enough. These insights aren't about becoming someone different. They're about removing the barriers that prevent your natural charisma from showing up. They're about understanding that true attraction happens when two people can be genuinely themselves together. The next time you're with someone you're interested in, try this. Instead of thinking, "How do I make her like me?" think, "How do I stay true to myself while getting to know her?" That simple shift in focus changes everything about how you show up. And remember, every woman who's pulled away wasn't rejecting who you are. She was responding to the anxiety and performance pressure that covered up who you actually are. When you remove those layers, you'll be amazed at how differently people respond to you. Start with one of these patterns. Notice when you're doing it. Don't judge yourself, just observe. Awareness is the first step toward change, and change is how you start creating the connections you actually want.